Let's just
Hold on for us, yeah. Looks bright enough, right?
Yeah, looks good, man. I think it looks good, really. Honestly.
Yeah.
We look great. We look hot.
We look-
Bunch of hot guys hanging out.
Just a bunch of hot dudes. Hi. Welcome to the Emo Social Club podcast. I am Brian, and I am here with my good friend Jake Marquis from the Sleep On It's.
The Sleep On It.
The Sleep On It's. Is that the real name?
It's definitely the biblical name.
Soy Boys.
Soy Boys.
The I don't know. Sleep On It. Jake from Sleep On It.
Hi guys. Hello
Welcome,
everyone.
Welcome, Jake, to the podcast.
Yes. Happy to be on the Emo Social podcast.
So Jake and I have been trying to make this happen for a while now.
A long time.
And luckily, it all happened right around the time when you are able to announce your new stuff.
Yeah.
So we finally get this nice opportunity around it.
Yeah, we get to
Definitely
talk
gonna
about
kick
some
this
stuff
recording.
that matters, you know?
Yeah, not just hey, what's up with living in Chicago?
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
you eating that? You eating the hot dogs? The Portillos?
Yeah, we got lots of news. And
Lots
not
of
just
news.
about nacho cheese.
Not just about nacho cheese. Hell yeah. So for listeners, Jake and I have known each other for
A very
7 years?
At least.
At least, yeah, 7
Maybe
years.
8. Maybe 8.
One of my favorite memories of us together, because I remember you before, you had started the band, and
Sure.
when you were just I just want to be in a band, I want to go on tour, I want to live the life, I want to do all this stuff. You saw my band playing
did.
at Riot Fest.
I sure did.
And I was like, that's my dude standing right there in the front row watching me. And tonight I'm going to try to repay that favor to you.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, we are. I should mention we are actually at Bottom Lounge for your show,
Yes.
your headlining show tonight. You're playing Overexposed in its entirety. Your not your debut album, right? Your
It is technically our first full length.
yeah, because you had the EP that came out before that.
Yeah.
And then you had the full length album. So
Yes.
now you're playing your first full length album from front to back.
Which we've never done before.
Right, and Bottom Lounge in Chicago, hometown show. I don't know if we know if it's sold out yet.
It's 30 tickets away
Yeah,
from selling
so
out. So
close.
we're looking at probably a door sellout
Hell yeah.
situation. Yeah.
That is, I'm honestly super stoked for you guys because to be doing is this your first headline tour?
Yes.
Yeah, so your first headline tour, headline show in Chicago,
Yep.
Selling out, playing your album, I just think it's the fucking coolest thing.
Yeah, it's awesome. We're a little overwhelmed, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a really exciting night. We're so excited, and so we have all of our friends and fans that have been supporting us for so many years coming to the show, and we're like, this is a big one. All right, try not to freak out.
Yeah. I remember a couple months ago you were already freaking out, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna be great.
Yeah,
It's gonna be awesome.
it was ambitious at the time. At the time of booking the
course.
show, we were like, well, we've sold out Sub T and B Kitchen, but those are only 200 and 300. This is double both.
Yeah.
of those, or triple B Kitchen. So
Yeah.
it's we were just really nervous to do a bigger room as we did, but
Yeah.
it's looking really great, and we're feeling really good about it. So
It's gonna be a sweaty mess in here tonight.
it's gonna be a time.
So yeah, let's talk about the new stuff.
Yeah.
All the new stuff that you did.
Yeah.
So the other day, this is we're recording this on Saturday, so it was Tuesday that you released everything, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So Tuesday, whatever the date was, days are flying by right now.
Yeah, it's
so,
crazy.
yeah, you released the new single, released the album details. Do you want to tell us a little bit about all that?
Yeah. So in January, we recorded a new record, and we went in with a bunch of ideas, probably somewhere close to 30 or 40. By the time we actually went in the studio, we narrowed it down to 20, and then we had to narrow it down to 10 songs.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of different variants in songs. There was some really heavy stuff, and there was some really light stuff, and all sorts of different stuff in between. But we were like, this is album 2, and every band that does anything that's on a national level thinks about we can't have a sophomore slump, right? So we're like, what about
Or the comeback of the year.
comeback of the year?
Two on brand.
Thank you.
Two on
No,
brand?
I loved it. Thank you so much. So we were like, what about our band do people really like? What makes Sleep On It, and how do we channel that into only 10 songs?
Yep.
So, there was a degree of fighting in the studio when we were writing and narrowing down songs, because even once we we knew we only had 10, but we had like 15. We were kind of like we liked and wanted to play with, and there was a lot of issues trying to figure out what we wanted to record, because it was like, whoa, this idea is really cool, but it's not like fleshed out. But maybe with the studio, like with it like going into the studio and like fleshing out in the studio, it will just pop. Like it could be awesome, And we ultimately had a few songs that had like screaming in them, and we ended up cutting them in favor of more pop rock, punk focused stuff, because we were like, what do people really like about our band? Our most popular songs are the really pop rock, pop punk focused songs. And while screaming and post-hardcore is very important to our band and a huge influence on all of us, I think what makes Sleep on It fans connect are they like melody. Most of our fans really connect to the lyrics and the melody, and they're not like super about screaming. So as much of it as it pains me, because I am the screamer.
You're the screamer.
I'm the screamer. So it was a little disheartening at first, but I was like, it's not about me, and it's not. We're trying to make the best record we possibly can make. Right? We're trying to take our shit to the next level and make a career out of this, not just a hobby. Right? That's really the goal for us. We want longevity, and we don't want to be a flash in the pan. We don't want it to fizzle out. We want a long-term career. We can play music for a really long time. That's what we want to do. So, we a lot of us had to put our egos aside, and Zach and me and Ted, all of us, we all had like issues and things we wanted to like do with the record, that we had to kind of be like, all right, we need to come to a compromise on this song or this idea or how this song sounds. So we ended up recording actually 11 songs, but we had to cut one.
So there's no like hidden track
there
after
is
like
no hidden
a
track.
long
There
8-minute
may
silence.
be a deluxe edition with the extra
Sure.
song, but at this present time, Pride and Disaster comes out September 13th with 10 songs.
Yeah.
So the title Pride and Disaster comes from the song on the record called Take Me Back, which Pride and Disaster is in the chorus. And we really thought Pride and Disaster, as sort of a bold soap opera title as it is, was a very accurate depiction of our own personal lives as well as our band. I think it's a dichotomy that really is illustrated well in our music and our lyrics and in our own lives, like I said before. So I think that title, like, as maybe dramatic as it is, I think really encapsulates the music on the record. The record's very urgent. It's very needing and fleeting, and it never stops. We don't have any slow songs on this record. That was an intentional decision on our part.
That's good.
We had, we did like an acoustic ballad on Overexposed, A Brighter Shade of Blue. We didn't want to like placate into that on this record. Like, that we're expected to do another acoustic song. Not to say we won't, but like not on this record.
Sure.
We wanted the urgency from the record. We wanted a record that you listen to and the energy doesn't like, it can have ebb and flow, but we didn't want like a dead stop energy like an acoustic song will do in some instances. So yeah, we're really excited about it. I think it does offer the best parts of our band. We tried some new things, like, for instance, the single Under the Moment. That's a Mike Green produced track. Mike Green does stuff with like A Day to Remember and All Time Low. So it was a lot of pressure working with him. He's like the biggest producer we've worked with. He's very dry and hard to read. So we're like, are we doing a good job? Like, do these songs sound cool to you? Like, it was like, because he was dry. But he ended up being great. We worked with him super well. And Under the Moment was actually like written on the spot, which is kind of a crazy thing for us.
That's kind of how it is, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes
you're like, oh shit, that's really good.
Yeah, it was basically like that. We were like, we want to push. We told Mike, we were like, we want to push the boundaries of what makes our band, and we don't want to get stuck in a rut of power chords and palm muting and fast drums. It's like that's important to us, and that's definitely part of our DNA, and that will never like truly go away. But we also wanted to try something rhythmically different. And he was like, "Well, have you ever done a triplet song before?" Like, what the fuck's a triplet song? He's like, okay. And he's like, give me that guitar. We're like, okay. And he did like a MIDI loop of that is now the beginning of the song, obviously. And then he kind of just started playing with some chords. TJ came over, started playing some chords back, and then Zach started humming some stuff, and I added a lead or two, and it was like, oh my God, this is cool. Like, this is very different from us, but it still sounds like us. And, And then when we showed the label, they like loved it.
Yeah.
And they were like, this should be the lead single. And we're like, the record isn't even done yet. You want to calm down? Like,
oh, yeah, we have a single. Well,
well, this is good news, obviously.
Yeah,
but like,
exactly.
we're like, but don't you want to hear the rest of the record first before we decide it? But it indeed did become the lead single. And we're all cool with that. I think we wanted a slight curveball. We didn't want to like throw people off with something like super off brand, but we wanted to be like, let's push the boundaries of what people are comfortable with associating our band with. You know, we are by no means going completely pop in any way, shape, or form. We still like playing our instruments, and we're not going to start using backtracking beats and EDM parts. It's not going to happen. But we just wanted to experiment with the song structures and like a song that was more vocally driven and has more space. I think the coolest thing about Under the Moment is that it has lots of space in it. There's not a constant barrage of guitars and bass. And even drums, really. There's lots of stops and holdouts and like parts that maybe don't come to us naturally, but like I think it lets the vocals breathe, and it really creates a song and a platform for Zach to showcase his vocal ability and his vocal tone. And I think on that song, he just sounds excellent. Like he sounds really good. Some of the best he's ever sounded, I think, on any song, which is a lot because he has a huge discography. So I really love Under the Moment. I think it's been really cool to see the reception of it. We've played it now. So like we said, we're playing Bottom Lounge, but we're on the day 3 of our tour, and we've played it the last 2 nights, and people already know the words like really well, and it's been out like 4 days. Yeah. So we're really excited about the reception to it live and on online and in our fans. So it's been really cool.
That's sick.
And I think it's what we needed to do. I think now, in retrospect, at the time, I was really worried. I didn't want people to get the wrong idea about our band. I didn't want to get too far away from the core of what people liked about our band on album 2. You know, that's like an album 3 thing. You know, like, you're like, oh, like we can get a little weird.
Yeah.
You know?
Now we can play with their expectations.
Yeah, play with their expectations. They're gonna like it no matter what. No. But it concerned me because I founded the band and I've been there since day 1. And I was like, when I first heard it, this is just my gut reaction when I first heard it. I was like, this isn't a Sleep On It song. This doesn't sound like us. Like, but with time and like listening to it, I was like, no, it is because we made it. Yeah, like that. I mean, exactly. What defines a Sleep On It song? It's we made the song. We wrote it.
You guys got into the studio, made the song.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's something I had to remove myself from. I had to be like, no, it's not a Sleep On It song because of what musicality is. It's what we say it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's something a lot of artists struggle with, and like it prevents you. It can either put you in a rut or make you completely creative. It's one or the other. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's cool. I can't wait to try more different things on our next record and beyond. Yeah. But I think the rest of the record, I think fans will really be excited to hear lots of familiar, like Sleep On It staples of the band, and like just really like we wrote it in like a summertime vibe, and it's not coming out in the summer like we wanted it to, but at least the singles are coming out in the summer. Yeah. So I think we really wanted like a windows down anthemic, 2004, 2005 vibe.
Absolutely.
Like we're really like, I mean, our fans know our influences pretty well. Yeah. And we all basically have the same favorite 3 bands. And, it's like Yellow Card, Fall Out Boy, Taking Back Sunday and stuff. It's like dominates, at least me, Zach, and TJ anyway. Luca loves metal, but
right,
he loves the metal.
He's always like new metal and all that on Facebook and shit.
So we went into the record, we were like, we're going to be really chorus focused on this record. We want these choruses to hit and resonate and be memorable. Not just like catchy wise, but we just want them to like, we want impact. Yeah. You're the best choruses you've ever heard, always like you feel like a thud in your stomach when they hit. There's something just special about dropping into the chorus of like Ocean Avenue, and it's like, this is huge. It just feels like bigger than life. And like that's not to say that we wrote one that good, because that one's amazing.
So you're saying that you basically recreated Ocean Avenue by Yellow Card?
Yeah, just quote me on that.
It's that good.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to be that egotistical. But that was the influence and the scope of what we were going for. I will never say we were as good as Yellow Card, because we're not. But that was like the goal in the record anyway, is to present anthemic, large choruses that that we want to sing along to, and our fans want to sing along to. Because again, those were the things that we looked when we looked at what our most popular songs were. That was what they all had in common.
Yeah.
So that was sorry, that was like a really long-winded answer.
No, dude, like honestly, like I mean, I don't know how much press you guys have done yet on just like talking about the record. Like, I mean, when you're going through like that new album cycle, there's obviously like, and we talk a little bit about business on the podcast.
Right.
So like, we can talk as much as you're able to about like the behind the scenes stuff.
For sure.
But obviously building up to like an album release, and you're trying to get a lot of attention around it. You release the single and you're like, yo, go pre-order the album now. Here's the track list. Here's the album art, the single, the video, all that goes into that. And you're like, well, you got to keep everything under wraps. So you're just like exploding at the seams, ready to be like, yo, I cannot wait for you guys to hear this stuff.
Yes.
But obviously now you have a record that's completely finished. You just can't tell anybody about it. So like, I don't know like what kind of like press you guys have done yet where you've been able to say like, this is the record. I am so excited about it. This is what it's going to sound like.
The first press about the record came out on Tuesday. Yeah. With All Press and Rock Sound and a couple of other places. But Zach did an interview with AP. We were actually just at AP yesterday in Cleveland and did some. Actually, we didn't really focus on the record very much. We did some sort of like silly content videos. They were very fun though. They're coming out soon. Soon to
the quality will probably be a little bit
soon
nicer than this.
To a phone near you. Literally your phone.
Oh shit!
Wow. Yeah. So we actually haven't done a whole lot of interviews on the new record yet because it was under wraps until Tuesday. So this is one of the first ones that's been done, to be completely honest, beyond the AP one that was done. And this is certainly the most in-depth, I would think. So yeah, this is one of the first. So
yeah, well, nice.
Ask away. I guess
an exclusive.
I'm an open book. In
I know. And meanwhere, I'm just like, I just wanted to chill with my friend and just talk about music and stuff. So it's like,
it's a fun time.
Yeah, it's like, all right, cool album. Anyway, like, what are you listening to lately? It's like that kind of stuff. I'm like, whatever. But no, it's really like wild that like I'm glad I could get you on like at this like press time. I'm not at all used to doing like press for bands. Like you're actually like our second band interview, I think. Aside from like Siska, because we weren't really interviewing him for like the band. We were just like, we just want to chill and like talk with you. Right. But it's like we interviewed another band and it's like, well, what is your like ethos? What do you want to do as a band? Where are you playing? Like, how can we promote your tour and all stuff like that? But like, this is like our like, oh shit, like they're on a label. Like, oh God. Yeah. Like I had to actually like message your manager, who's a friend of mine too. And it's just like, oh, we need to make sure that like all the press is like, totally cool. And it's like, I don't know, like, do I have to like send you like a special like thing, or is it just like, and he's just like, yeah, sounds good. Like I'll email like the press guys and just like make sure everything's cool. And it's like, okay, cool. Okay. I don't know.
I don't know what to do now.
I'm like, just want you to know that like I do most of this podcast from my bedroom. So it's like, yeah.
It's all right, man. I promise it's okay.
Yeah. I am honestly like a big fan of the new single.
Thank you.
I saw all the notifications. I was at the airport ready to like get on a plane, and I'm just like, oh shit, the new single's out. Stopped what I was doing, like went to YouTube, and I'm like, oh, this is a bop.
Cool.
This is like, it's. I can definitely like. I always thought that you guys were trying to go a little bit of the A Day to Remember route. So like having worked with somebody that now is like A Day to Remember affiliated, and like doing like a song that's a little bit different, more in like the pop punk of 2019 realm. I'm like, but it fucking works. Like it sounds
it's cool.
Good. It's fun to listen to.
I really like the open chords and the verses. I think they're like really, like anything, like not that there's anything wrong with power chords. I love me a power chord.
They get the job done.
They're great. And sometimes they're exactly what a song needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in this song, I love the like slightly augmented chords that we use in the verses and in the bridge. I think they're really cool. They lend it. They emote differently, and they really complement the vocals. I think Under the Moment's really cool. We made a conscious decision to put gang vocals in the chorus.
Hell yeah.
And which is, we realized this, me and TJ were talking yesterday. We were listening to one of the other new songs, and we were like, the entire record, like Overexposed, there's like very, very little gang vocals. And we did like a tally count in our head. They were like, it's like 4 or 5 songs on this record that have gang vocals. They're like,
Yeah.
who do we think we are? Hit the lights all of a
Yeah.
sudden? Like, what's happening? Like, or set your goals or something like that. Like obviously it doesn't sound anything like either of those bands, but we were like, oh yeah, we like really like went for the gang vocals this time around. But I think it's cool because it really like emphasizes crowd participation, and we've seen it in the last 2 shows. And I can't wait to play Under the Moment tonight and see the hopefully sold out Chicago crowd.
Yeah,
singing
dude, there's already people lined up outside.
I know, yeah.
And I
it's
hope
wild.
it doesn't rain on top of all
I
of them.
also hope it doesn't rain on top of them.
Whatever, they'll dry off before they get super sweaty in here
it'll be
again.
fine.
Yeah, so you mentioned that like there's going to be at least another single released during the summer.
I believe there'll be 2 more. I can't tell you when because I actually don't know. I haven't seen dates.
Yeah.
But there are 2 additional songs planned, like at least one pre-release and then probably another one either the week of or like a week after or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. The details are a little fuzzy, but we do have 2 other standalone songs planned for release as part of the record. And then hopefully the record does so well we get to put out more singles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do more music videos and stuff like that.
When you're recording, obviously like you recorded the one song, the label was like, this is the lead single and all that. But are you thinking like, all right, these are singles. Like I want to make this like a hit single. Like I want this to be like, maybe you're like writing it and you're like, no, this is good. We need to pursue this as like a single, make it more like this direction. Or are you just like kind of writing songs and you're like,
to a degree, sometimes you'll have a song and you can tell right away that the melody is solid. You're like, all right, this chorus melody is catchy. If we're going to get stuck in our heads, then other people are going to get stuck in their heads.
yeah,
And then if we feel that strongly about a song, we'll tell the producer that and be like, what do you think we could do to make this better? Do you think this could be a single? Because singles it's part of the marketing. Like it's part of the business of it. You don't want to get like egotistical about it, but you're like, we do need accessible songs for our fans to latch onto. That's like the whole thing. You have to do that every record cycle.
Yep.
And you just have to be aware of that. So we don't write songs to be singles. We're not like, this song is going to be a single. And then like do that with the sole intent. But sometimes you'll listen through a bunch of demos and you'll be like, all right, this chorus is already better than half of these songs.
Yeah.
So you'll isolate a song and be like, that's the strongest chorus that I heard. And then you'll bring it to a producer and be like, how do we make this chorus pop even more?
Gotcha.
How can we produce this to make it really hit? Like we were talking about, like sound anthemic and large and like, so yeah, I guess like you don't write songs to be singles, but you can, it's usually pretty easy to identify what ones are going to be.
Yeah.
Because, we obviously do like sort of like a blind test with our team too. Like, we'll show our manager, Buck, and like our TM, Andrew, and like people like that. We'll present them with a few songs. Like, what do you think of these 2 songs? Between these 2, like, what do you like? And like, it's usually relatively unanimous. Like, it's like pretty, at least for this record, the singles were very like no brainer. It was like, oh, everyone likes these ones.
Yeah.
Like, the most. Not to say that the other ones are inferior in any way, but like there's certain songs that are just album tracks, and that's the way. That's good. That's okay. That you don't want it to be like every song is like this huge single. Like you need balance. A record needs balance.
Yeah.
It needs ebb and flow. It needs songs that don't scream at you, right?
Yeah.
I guess. So there's a degree of that. I think it's on your mind, but we're not writing songs to be singles.
Yeah. So I feel like there's like with Spotify culture, with streaming culture, with all that, like there's this idea like now a bunch of artists are releasing like really long albums because it's better for a streaming algorithm to have more songs on an album. Like I think Billie Eilish released like an 18-song album, and it's like, yeah, but that was because it's to get more numbers on the board. Right. And like obviously Billie Eilish is not releasing an 18 singles album.
Right. No.
So like if you're writing a 10-song album, it's like, are you going into that like we want to write 10 songs that are all going to hit you in the dick the same way, or do you want songs that are like, these are the songs we want to represent this? I feel like back in 2005, a lot of albums were very similar to one another. Yeah. Taking Back Sunday album and a Yellow Card album and a Fall Out Boy album all had very similar sort of things about it. There was, like you said before, like the acoustic song. There's like the piano ballad or something like that.
Yeah, there were some like very like almost like emo cliches that kind of like got like in everyone's head, and the band sort of felt like they had to make those songs.
Yeah.
They like had to have like an acoustic ballad on every record. I think that was like a weird thing that happened. I think as a newer band, we're like, don't write what you want to write. You know, like don't feel like you have. That was something we're like, people love our song A Brighter Shade of Blue. We love it. It's cool. We like that song a lot. But we're like, do we have to write an acoustic song on this record? We don't have to. If we don't feel that we're not going to force write a song just to have it. You know what I mean? It was like, well, we were talking to me and TJ and Zach were talking like, do we have any like song that works acoustic like really well that would fill that void for like what people want? And we were like, not really. So we're not going to force it. We're not going to force an acoustic song out just so we have one. Yeah. But, so I think we discarded a few like necessities, and it was like, well, it was another. That was the screaming thing too. It was like, well, do we need a song with screaming? Do we want one? We kind of want one, but we don't. But it doesn't need it, and we felt like it would be out of place on the record. We were like as much as like me and TJ wanted to yell into microphones really loud, it was like it didn't really work on this record, and that was I think part and due to like what ended up being the final collection of songs, and it just didn't feel what the album was trying to say. Like the thematic lyrical elements of the album didn't feel angry. It's not an angry album. It's not. Like Overexposed is kind of an angry album, but this Pride and Disaster is not. It's more lamenting and hopeful than I think it is angry. So I think anger and screaming didn't fit, but it may fit on the next record. Who knows? Like I think it's again. I think like I said, post-hardcore is part of our DNA to a degree, and I think we know that like some fans are going to be a little bummed that there's not a whole lot of that on the record, but I think that if they listen to the record as a whole and like understand that, and I go, okay, this like makes sense as 10 songs. And if you like thought about like injecting some really heavy song in there, I feel like it would have just not fit. So I think that's ultimately what we came down to, is like what people expect of us versus what we think really works as a record. Because we still care about records. I know some people don't care about records anymore because we're in the streaming age.
It's just it's weird culture for it.
We care about how a record sounds front to back, and it's still really important to me, Zach and TJ and Luca, how a record like flows and how the songs work with each other.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a lot of ways that bands can go right now. I think that a lot of I do think like if I were to be in a new band, I'd probably be more like, I just want to write a bunch of singles, put them out, and like just try to get like, I see a lot of bands that I really like that are just putting out videos for every song, just like running that way, and then they put out an album, and it's like, but we released like 15 singles, so it's like, that's our album. Didn't like the Weeknd did that, I think. He was like, I'm just going to put out all these songs, and then it's like, oh, cool, here's my album. And I think that I still think there's room for album bands. I think there's still room within streaming culture and within that I want to say Warped Tour life, even though Warped Tour is not really around.
Sure,
but it's like,
I think it's a cornerstone.
There's still room for bands that are releasing the albums.
I think with rock music, I think albums are still really important. I understand why singles are like a rap and pop thing, because a lot of the time the songs don't have anything to do with each other. They have similar thematic elements, but they're never like, no offense to any rapper, because some rappers tell stories, but a lot of rappers aren't telling any story. It's about a night out, or it's about
making a hit song.
It's about making a hit song. It's about being catchy, and it's very self-sufficient as a song. Every song there's no connection to the other songs, and it's its own separate entity. So for rap, singles works fantastic because they don't need to have any connection. But I think with rock music, people still want to hear stories, and they still want like the songs to have some connection to each other. They want an overall mood and like a feeling that they get when they put on a record. I think that's still important, especially with the resurgence in vinyl. I think vinyl is, and this is obviously like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but it's fine. We launched pre-orders on Tuesday, and I don't know what the numbers are at now, but we sold more vinyls than we did CDs as a part of the pre-order. So, and like, so that's indicative of what people are craving. And I think vinyls are even more like close because you have to literally flip the side, you know, and like it's like man, I love the first 6 tracks on that record, and the second half is great too because it like so you have this like concept of like still really caring about this experience of an album. Yes, everyone is doing the streaming, but I think a lot of people are streaming and then going home and putting a record on. I think there's both. I think a lot of our fans are both. I think that like our fans are definitely streaming on Spotify, but they're also sometimes they're getting drunk on Saturday night and be like, let's throw on some Sleep On. Like entirely possible. I don't know. I mean, that's how I am. I think that's how I sort of operate. I'm like, commuting to work, listen to Spotify, but if I'm like having a good night and I'm with some friends, like throw on a vinyl. Like it's cool. So I think, albums are still important with rock music, and I think in our particular scene as well, I think people care about albums.
Yeah, I do think that it's within within the rock music scene, within especially when you know that like the money that you're spending on pre-ordering, the money you're spending towards an album is going to the band to support them, or at least like showing like your support for them. Yeah,
I feel like fans feel like a pride in that.
Yeah, and I think that having a vinyl record rather than just a CD is now more of a way of like showing that badge of honor. Like, I got this thing and it's bigger and it's more collectible,
and people love the variants.
And if they're limited edition,
exactly, limited to 250, man. Like, let's get it. We have fans that have like we see pictures online of people like I have every copy of Overexposed. Like that's awesome.
Yeah,
thank you so much for buying our record 4 times. Like unnecessary, but super cool that you care enough that you want every variant.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Like so, I think for us that like the concept of a record was still really important, and I don't think that's going to go away. I think because of like our favorite bands are record bands.
Yeah,
there aren't single bands. I guess maybe with the exception of Fall Out Boy. But they're still a record band, even though they're a single band. It's like because they're so popular, they've become sort of a single band, and they were, obviously over time became more of a single band. But I think they still care about their records and the flow of that. But all of our other favorite bands, so Jimmy Eat World, Taking Back Sunday, Yellow Card, those are record bands.
Yeah.
They care about their record as an experience, as a journey, as a story. And I think that's our influences are gonna dictate that. I don't think we're going to be able to I don't think we would be able to be like, let's just put a bunch of bangers on one record. I don't think we want to do that. This is called
the Bangers record?
This is called Bangers Only.
This
is called Bangers Only. I mean, we want catchy big songs, but we still want them to have relation to each other and to make sense as a whole, as a group, as a pod.
A pod?
Like a pot of whales.
A pot of whales.
A pot of whales.
Is that why they're called podcasts? Just whale noises?
Okay.
It's not.
That's enough.
It's not.
Okay, that's enough. How are you? So now we're Finding Nemoing it.
A little bit.
It's okay. But yeah, records. Great.
Yeah, they're awesome. Tell me about the tour
that
you're on right now.
Right now.
Let's talk about you guys and your live show, and I've actually only, and this is gonna out me to you, being that like I'm a good friend, but I'm a bad fan. Where like I've only seen you at Warped Tour, so this will be the second time I've seen you.
Okay.
So your live show, what you do on stage, now you're headlining. You're actually able to like do, I'm assuming, a little bit more than what you've done in the past, because you had other bands that were playing after you.
Yep.
And you've got some other bands that are out with you. So why don't we talk about them, give them a little shout.
Sure, yeah. So Warped Tour left a void, and because we did Warped last year, and when we were talking about this summer, we're like, what are we gonna do? Like, we don't know, because like we knew about Disrupt and Said Summer, but because of the size of our band, we would be playing extremely early, and no matter what, and people would be like, what, your band's small? It's like, we're small compared to Circus Survive and Thrice. So there's no real way around that. We would have ended up playing really early regardless.
You're good. I'm just making sure it's not picking up like all the other stuff from out there.
For sure.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, we would end up playing really early, and so we didn't really pursue those tours heavily because we knew what where we our position as a band is like we need to prove ourselves. Basically, it's like we've done a bunch of support tours. They've all gone really well, well received, and we feel really great about them. But we're like, we probably should like think about headlining. Like our fans are tired of seeing us support.
Yeah.
We would see it online. We would see it in the like Twitter comments and stuff like. Can you guys headline? I want to see more than 5 songs.
Yeah.
Because like Warp, we'd play 5 or 6 songs, and it's off. Like you know, we played with Broadside and with Comets, played like 7 songs, and it was like really only time to play like singles, like and like maybe one song that like we don't get to play. It wasn't a single. So fans have been screaming at us like, please play Photo Booth, like the song off Overexposed. It's like a ballad that like in a 5-6 song set seems like a waste. It seemed, you know, like where it's long and then it's also like a slow song that new fans may not want to hear. Like they may not hook them. So we were like, all right, we should headline. We should do a small headlining run and like test the waters and play more songs than we usually get to. And because I think that's what our fans want right now. I think that would make our fan base happy, which is what we need right before we put out a new record. Make the fans happy.
I think that now you have the opportunity to not be like you've gained a lot of fans, I'm assuming, from being a support act for a lot of these bigger tours. And so like bands that are bigger than you, that are taking you out, you get those fans to then be like, oh, hey, we're interested in your band. You guys are great. The singles are great. And then if they become a fan of yours, they're like, well, now I want to hear like more songs. Other stuff. So, I mean, yeah, it makes sense to me that like a lot of people would probably be reaching out just like, please play these other songs I don't get to hear.
Yeah, the 2 most frequent things we heard before we announced anything were please headline and please put out new music. Because it's 2000 Overexposed came out in 2017, November of 2017. We put out a standalone single called Disconnected last November. But that's still a whole ass year ago. So we had been very quiet because people knew we were recording, but like we'd been very quiet and we're like and we hadn't until this tour was announced. People were like, can you guys headline and can you put out some new music? So like, fine, we'll do both.
Fine.
We'll do both, okay,
Guess
guys?
what, Karen? We're doing it.
All right, Margaret, we're putting out a new song and going on tour.
Fucking Margaret.
So when we talked about bands, we had a couple bands in mind. We were like I'm a huge In Our Own Words fan. I think they're extremely underrated. Joey's a friend of mine, and I'd been talking to him about going on tour together for a year. And I was like, dude, someday we got to do this. So when we had the opportunity to be the headliner, I contacted my booking agent and my manager, and I was like, you should get this band In Our Own Words. They're really, really great. I think they're worth more tickets than they may seem, and I think that they're a great addition to our package because I think sonically they're very similar to us in a lot of ways. Joey's voice is... he doesn't actually sound like Zach, but I think their singing style and their influence is very similar. So our fans tend to talk about our bands in tandem without even trying. So like it would be a natural like pairing for us to be together. And then we've known the Like Pacific guys since 2014, and they've always been super cool to us. We've never actually got a chance to tour them. We did a couple standalone shows here and there, but we were like they would be a great pairing as well. And we're Like Pacific was they've been around slightly longer professionally touring, and so we're like so we should do a co-headliner because we're going to do 4 Canadian shows. They're from Canada, from Toronto. So yeah, so when it came out, so we're like, all right, we're going to do a co-headliner with Like Pacific, Sleep on It, with support from In Our Own Words. This band Never Loved, who's on Equal Vision. It's a smaller label mate of ours, a new signing. And then last minute, Home Safe, who's from here as well. We've known forever. We toured with them in State Champs, and we've done tons of hometown shows with them. They said that they were interested in joining the package, and we were like, that's awesome, because we already know them, already like them. They're a great band, and it helps the whole package. So it rounded itself out, and kind of just presented itself, in early May, and we were like, this is going to be great. This is going to be really awesome. All these bands have similar fans, but not the same fans, so it draws in different people, and I think we're already seeing that. We're 3 days in, and we're seeing people that really only like In Our Own Words, but then are seeing Home Safe and Sleep on It, Like Pacific, and being like, oh, I really like these bands. How have I never listened to these bands before? So it's a really cool package. I'm really excited about it. I'm happy that I had something to do with it. I have my reservations. Headlining is something that the whole band is nervous about because it's like, well, hell, the pressure's on us for once. This is weird. We hope people go, and that's obviously like a slightly irrational fear, but it's real. So what people have a lot to competition with. Like today we're competing with Pitchfork, which is a huge music festival in Chicago,
right next door.
It couldn't be more close.
It should be fine.
Okay.
It's literally like sound check time now, so everything is like loud. But I think that the recording of this is pretty like focused on us.
Okay.
So
sounds good.
Yeah. If this is really loud in editing, I'm really fucking sorry.
Okay, it's okay. We're competing with Pitchfork today, and we're competing with the aforementioned festival, Sad Summer, Disrupt, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That are like super tours. They have massive bands with huge appeal and huge fan bases, and we're like, we're the little pop punk tour that could, but we're loving it. We're 3 days in. The tickets are selling better than normal. Mm-hmm. The fans are extremely grateful, extremely excited to be here, and we couldn't be more excited.
Do you think that there's like a risk? Like, is there a risk of like taking a headlining tour? I mean, obviously, like if it was your first run out, you're not going to do a headline tour. You're going to want to get like some other shows under your belt. I don't like the term "pay your dues" because I don't think that like if you guys broke and you guys were like this insanely popular band and you were like, all right, well, our first tour is going to be a headliner. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? But you guys are still like working. You guys are still making it. And
it's a climb.
Yeah. And now like you're finally at the level of the climb where you're like, we want to do a headlining run, but like, is there a risk in it? Like, so if these shows are like, we're not selling as well as like maybe we were expected to. Obviously, like if you're taking a larger venue, then you're like concerned about
the overhead's larger. Yeah. It is a concern. It's. We obviously, so for those that don't know at home, bands have things called guarantees, and guarantees are set unless it's a door deal. Door deals and guarantees are two separate things. Certain shows have door deals, certain shows have guarantees. Door deals are more rare, unless they're more common in independent touring, but with national touring, with bands on labels and stuff like that, guarantees are usually pretty set. If a promoter revokes a guarantee, that's like not cool and not something that should be happening. So. It's not that. It's where a tour really suffers is if people don't go, no one buys merch. And that is how you know the tour's not doing well. If the merch sales are really low and it's like, okay, so we get our guarantee, but if there's no one at the shows, it's a bummer for everybody. Mm-hmm. There is a risk. I mean, that's why I was worried about this show. Yeah. I was worried about this show because it's the biggest headline show we've ever booked. We were worried. But needless to say, we were, pleasantly surprised, and we're at a great ticket count and everything. But there was a huge risk. We were like, what if this is too soon? What if we're jumping the gun on our own headlining tour and it's just kind of like, it's just okay, we know we have fans, we know people care about our band, but like, do they care enough? Yeah. That's the thing.
And I feel like all these people online are saying like, yo, you should headline, and then you like book the shows and they're like, oh, can't make it. You're like, all right, well, fuck. Like, we did this show for you and now you're not coming.
We did this for you. So luckily it doesn't seem to be the case. But when we booked the tour, we're like, hope this works, like we haven't headlined it since we were in an independent band.
Yeah.
When we did DIY touring and we had to headline because that's how we had to do it to break through.
Yeah.
So we were like, we haven't done this in a long time. We haven't headlined outside of Chicago in a very long time. So hope people go. But it's looking great. Like I said,
a couple days in now.
The tour is really shaping up greatly, and I've been very, very surprised and pleasantly pleased with how with the attendance and how great the fans have been. So it's been awesome.
That's great. I mean, I would be, because like you were saying, like it's something that a lot more independent bands are probably used to is like going to a bar and like you're telling you tell all your friends to come in and tell the door guy who you're there to see. And like,
there's a tally check.
And they pay you based off of that. And then to know that like when you're on a label,
how many pre-sale tickets did you sell? 5? Okay. Thanks.
And then you have to go pick them up and like drive them out to your friends because you can't sell them online.
Yes,
which is like,
that was us in 2014.
Yeah, so it's the fucking worst.
It is irritating, but it's part of it. It teaches you a valuable lesson. It teaches you who is really going to support your band and who isn't. And it teaches you just like how the basis of the business works, because proving your draw, even if it's at first, is just how many friends you have, is like, that's how it works. People need to care about your music. If they don't care, then you need to try harder. It's that's literally that sounds like very like brutally honest, but it's the truth. I think if people don't care enough about your music, then maybe you need to look inward and be like, are we doing the right things that we need to do to make people care about our music? There's a lot more than just the songs. You know? And I could go on forever. That's a whole separate podcast about young band advice. I talk
all the time on this, and I'm just like, my best advice is like, just don't. I want people to be musicians, but I'm also like, don't. Like,
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of research, and it's a lot more than just like, I've got songs I really like, or I'm writing this really cool riff, or whatever it is.
I think it's all about balancing expectations versus like reality and what you want out of it.
Definitely.
Because you can be in a band and just write songs and play some shows.
In your basement.
Yeah, and it's cool.
Do house shows.
But if you want it to be a career, that is a whole separate entity.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked when we talked with Minardi, I think we talked a bit about just like, what's your advice to new bands? And it's like, oh, you're way nicer about this. I was just going to say, don't. like
don't do it.
A guy who's like, I go and like sign new bands. It's just like, like this and focus on this. And I'm just like, I was going to say, don't do it, guys. Don't reach out to anybody. I guess the only thing I would actually say is like, if you're going to do anything, just prove your value. Yeah. Like, if you're like, I want to like have people come to shows, it's like you have to prove your value to people to come to your show. Yeah. If you want to get on a tour, period, you have to prove your value of what you're doing on that tour. You can't just go, we're going to go across the country. Like, you're going to reach out to a venue in Iowa who's going to be like, who are you? We don't know you. Like, why would we book you here? You're going to bring no money to us. It's your first time in the city. Right. Like, it's tough shit like that where it's like you need to prove your value over and all. So I like, for me, about you guys, I'm like, you guys have proven your value, especially here in Chicago where you've headlined a bunch of times, but like now to be doing it across, I don't know 100% of where you're going on this one because I know you also announced another tour recently, so we can talk about that.
The one we're on right now is really Midwest, East Coast, and Canada. So we're proving our value that way.
This other tour is with a bunch of bands that I don't know.
Okay.
Like,
that's okay.
It's literally bands that I'm like, I've seen these names everywhere, Alt Press, Warped Tour, like friends of mine are always like promoting these like band names and I'm like, who are these people? Yeah. Because my musical intelligence has ended in 2011, maybe?
Sure.
Pierce the Veil is really like the newest band I started listening to and like that's it. So I'm like, that's about 2011, 2012 I stopped listening to new music. So for sure. Let's talk a little bit about that too, I guess, if you can say anything about that tour.
Sure. Yeah, we can talk about it. We're going on tour in the fall with Don Broco, which is two British bands, actually. Don Broco and Trash Boat are both from the United Kingdom.
I do like that band name, but I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Trash Boat is just like, cool name.
Yeah, it's a cool name. We were both bands, we were on Warped Tour last summer with, on the same stage, the LAFM stage. And so we met them there. That's not really why the tour happened the way it did, but it definitely didn't hurt, I don't think. So it's like a camaraderie there. Like we unloaded the truck together every day and pulled all the gear out every morning at 8 a.m. and did that for 26 days or whatever. Yeah. So we met them there. They're all really great. And this tour for us is a lot about timing. Don Broco has never headlined in North America before. Okay. So for those of you at home that don't know who Don Broco is, they are
and also me right here.
They are a massive British band. But in the UK, the United States, people don't really. They are significantly smaller. Yeah. So Don Broco will like headline over neck deep in state champs in the UK, but here they open for state champs. Yeah. So if that puts it into perspective for anybody. So they've never done a North American headline tour before, and it starts basically the day before the record drops.
Oh wow!
So it aligned perfectly with our release schedule, and we were like, we already know these bands. They're like in our realm, but not the same. Trash Boat's like pop punk, but like a little bit on the heavier side. Don Broco kind of has like pop elements, but they also have like this European like heavier element in a lot of their songs. And then the opening band is called Selfish Things, who are on Pure Noise, and they're friends of ours, and they kind of do like like either like a hard rock thing or like a piano ballad, and it's funny. He's a very diverse songwriter, Alex Biro. So it's like a very like it's not necessarily like a diverse genre tour, but it's a little bit less on the nose than this one, or perhaps even the ones we've done in the past, like the With Confidence Broadside tour. That's like very like the same types of songs with the same structures and lots of power chords and like the choruses are very similar. This is going to be more diverse in that sense, and I think that's cool. I think that's exciting because I think we're getting at a point where we've maybe toured with too many of the same bands, and we need to like be open to the accessibility of new people.
Yeah.
But the tour is already selling really well.
That's good.
LA's already sold out. Atlanta got upgraded. Which is weird because we've never sold out a show in Atlanta before. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's selling really well, and our fans seem to be very excited about attending the concert. With the great thing about this tour is we're finally returning to the Pacific Northwest, which we haven't hit in a full year.
Oh, wow.
Actually, longer. We haven't hit the Pacific Northwest in almost 2. Because we toured with water parks when we went up to the Pacific Northwest. So we haven't been up to Seattle or Portland or Vancouver in a very long time. So some of our upper West Coast fans are extremely excited about that. And then it hits the rest of the country. So it's a full U.S. jaunt with Montreal and Toronto as well.
Nice.
And it's gonna be really exciting. We're really pumped to put out a record on a tour and have it align perfectly like that, and be able to sell the new record and get people's response to it as we perform new songs every night and stuff like that. It's gonna be a very different set than this tour, I think. So.
Is it going to be interesting when you are playing the new album, like on the release date of the new album, and you start playing songs from it, and it's like people are going to come out and they're going to know words to like the first time they're hearing it?
Yeah, they're not going to really know it yet.
Yeah.
And that's a risk you take with playing new songs. But I think you obviously also need to push the new songs.
Yeah.
So it's like a give and take there. You have to like, the record's not going to sell if you're not pushing the songs. So,
right.
We haven't talked about the set because obviously we're in the middle of this tour. We're not worrying about the next tour set list, but we're gonna have to talk about like what songs we want to play because we're gonna have a shorter set list, obviously compared to the headliner, and we're gonna be pushing a new record. So it's like, what songs are we gonna cut? Because now all of a sudden it's like you add another 10 songs to the mix, and it's like now 30 minutes is like, how do we pick what we're going to play?
Now you got to cut songs you've been playing this entire time. And you're like,
entire
oh,
time.
shit, I can't do the song we've played every show so far.
Yeah, it's like, we're talking about like not being able to play Distant, which was like the lead single from Overexposed. It's like, I don't think we're going to be able to play that on the Broco tour. And that's kind of sad, but like also exciting. And we hope fans are like receptive to that. And understand that like we only have a lot amount of time, and we're trying to do something new and present you with new material, and I hope that they're receptive to that.
Yeah.
But that's all you can do. But that tour is going to be great. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, you tend to... It strikes me that your fan base is very receptive.
They've been
anyway.
great. Like they've been awesome. Like, I am extremely grateful for our fan base because they seem so understanding and just so open-minded about everything. And...
Zach is very quietly trying to move a chair.
It's okay, buddy. They've been so receptive and open-minded about everything, especially with like Under the Moment coming out and everything. I think they've been really great. And I think that I don't foresee them rejecting us playing, new songs on the Broco tour or anything. I don't think that'll be an issue. I think they're just excited to have new songs. Yeah. I really do. I think they've been waiting and they're just pumped.
So I'm going to ask you a bunch of random shit now.
Okay, that's great.
So you have a fucking Charmander tattoo.
I do.
Like a boss.
I do.
So is Charmander your favorite Pokemon?
It sure is.
All right.
It's my favorite starter for sure. A favorite Pokemon? It's probably my favorite Pokemon.
Zach's giving a weird look now.
Yeah. Zach's making me uncomfortable.
He's like, Charmander,
I'm like a front bottom song. I like some of the legendaries and stuff like that. But I think Charmander, it was, I got Pokemon Red when I was like 8 years old.
Yep.
And I was like, I want the fire one because I was a little pyro as a kid. Light shit on fire. So I was like, I want the fire Pokemon. Charmander's always been my favorite. And yeah, it's one of my favorite tattoos. It's one of my first tattoos.
Yeah.
And it is a hot topic of conversation. People always, it's one of the first people.
Really? A hot topic conversation, dude?
It's an emo podcast. Yeah. It's literally the buzzwords we need for it.
The Emo Social podcast sponsored by Hot Topic.
God, I wish.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Hot Topic, please sponsor us. Also, anybody, please sponsor us. We have no sponsors yet. So.
We have no money.
Yeah, we have no money.
We literally have no money.
Please, we are struggling.
Yeah, it's a common conversation. And
Yeah.
people always ask me what my favorite Pokemon
I
is.
remember,
And about Pokemon because I play Pokemon Go and I like.
Yep.
I have a Pikachu N64 and
Fuck, that's awesome.
Yes.
That's sick.
spend entirely too much money on it.
Do you get made fun of for liking Pokemon as an
Yeah,
adult?
for sure. I'm 30 years old.
Would you
It's
like
terrible.
to tell those people go fuck themselves?
Pokemon Go fuck yourself. I'm excused for my own interview.
This interview's over. I am constantly fucking ridiculed for liking Pokemon because I buy every single game. I'm very excited about Sword and Shield for the Switch.
For those of you watching at home, if you like something and enjoy it, don't feel bad about liking something.
Oh my god, I love it whenever you post on the internet like let people like things.
Yeah.
Like I think that like
Just let people like
you're
things.
somebody who like posts it the most because like you're very active on Twitter. Your Twitter is like at Jake's on a plane. Who?
I know nothing of this website.
Yeah. But you're always the one that's just like, yo, like, stop complaining. Just let people like things. If people are
Yeah.
into something, just let them do it.
Just let 'em like it.
It's stupid to just be like, I'm going to complain about this because it's like, oh, you're an adult. You shouldn't like Pokemon. It's like, no, I'm an adult and I like Pokemon. That's what I'm about.
I'm an adult and I'm free to make my own decisions about
Yeah.
what I like and what I don't like.
Yeah. So,
I think that's pretty-
Pokemon, go fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
God, I love that.
2019.
You are... I don't know what the word is, but I'm going to say obsessed, and you can change the word. You are obsessed with White Claw, and it is, in a way, weird and also endearing and a little bit exciting and sometimes dangerous to me.
I think it's all of those things.
It's literally like we're in a White Claw summer right now. White Claw is a meme. White Claw is everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a video of like some comedian who like made a video about White Claw, and I feel like you were tagged in it, and that's the only reason I saw it.
Yes.
Because it was everywhere.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws. I don't know why I said that in a New
You
Orleans
said it in a
accent.
very weird accent. That's funny. Yes. So the White Claw thing, it started with Warped Tour last summer because we got free beer every day, and I was like, I can't be slinging 5 Bud Lights a day.
Yeah.
It just is not gonna make me feel good in the heat, and it's gonna make me fat, and I can't do it. I'm just not gonna do it. And then I can't remember who introduced me to White Claw, but it was probably one of the other bands.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that the
It was before the tour.
it might have been before the tour.
You knew about it before the tour.
I can't remember.
I feel like you posted about like wanting a substitute for beer on Warped Tour. Because
Yeah.
you were trying to lose weight, and I think someone was just like, "What about White Claw?"
Yeah. So I think I was just like talking about like healthier alternatives to getting crunk.
The crunk
Did you
workout
use the
plan.
word crunk in 2019?
I did. It's 2019, Zach.
She literally said that like an hour ago.
We love it. Anyhoozle. So I posted about wanting an alternative to beer because I drink too much beer, and on Warped Tour I was like, I can't be drinking Bud Light every day. I'll go insane. And thus the White Claw Summer 2K18 was born.
Yeah.
But only on Warped Tour. It hadn't like hit the mainstream was like they didn't know it yet.
Yeah.
And so I just had fans bringing me 6-packs like every day.
Yeah.
Which bless their damn souls. Thank you
Doing
so
the Lord's work.
Thank you so much. Whoever got me a White Claw pack on the last Warped Tour, you are near and dear to my heart.
A
Thank
god
you.
among men.
Thank you so much. And it just became a thing on Warped, like that summer. It became a thing. It was hot as hell, and people were like, "Wow, I can drink these and get a buzz, but not feel sluggish." You know, and I had like Ben from As It Is and his wife like asking me about the claws, and it just became like this thing. And like we had a bus called Big Red Clifford on Warped. And it was just, the cooler always had like some beer that Capstan would drink, and then like a ton of White Claw. It would just be for us. And we would just have like a ball of Jameson and White Claw on the bus in the summer, and it just became a thing. Like I started posting about how much I liked it and how if fans wanted to get, because fans all work fans would be like, can I get you anything? Can I get you anything? And it's like I don't want you to get me anything.
You're right, yeah.
I feel bad imposing a financial burden upon you.
Right.
Unless it's like water or like a 6-pack of White Claws is like it's like $10.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to buy me something about a band member that you care about, you can get me this, and I'll be very grateful, and it means a lot.
Yeah.
Don't be getting me gifts and stuff that I don't like. It's a lot sometimes. So yeah, I just started posting about it and how much I liked it, and then fast forward a little bit of time, then they followed the official White Claw followed me on Twitter. I had
Sick brag, bro.
I mean, this is how it happened. This is the story. The story about White Claw is because I started posting about it. They followed me on Twitter, and then I talked to Andrew, our TM. I figured out they were Chicago-based, and owned by Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yeah.
And then I talked to one Johnny Minardi and
One Johnny Minardi.
and
How much are they paying?
I said we have no money.
No, I mean White Claw.
Oh, White Claw? Not
$5,000.
Not enough.
They're not paying me anybody. They are coming to the show tonight, though. So shout out to White Claw.
Shouts.
Maybe they'll sponsor this podcast. We can talk to
God damn it. White Claw, please. Please.
So yeah, they follow me on Twitter. We reached out for brand ambassadorship. And they came to our Bottom Line show last December and came with a couple cases, a backpack, a belt, some like random swag, and we talked to them, and they were like, "We really appreciate how much you've done for our brand. You guys are so cool." And fast forward to tonight, we have 3 members of the White Claw team coming to the show on the guest list, and it's now a full-blown like cultural phenomenon. People are talking about White Claw all over the place, all over the internet, all the viral videos and stuff like that. And now it's becoming like an associated brand with our band.
Yeah.
In
a way, that's kind of sick.
Yeah, it is kind of sick. It's
like
fun.
you were like kind of ahead of the game, and then all of a sudden, like it all blew up, and you're like, well, we get to ride
And
this.
then Trevor Wallace fucker next to
Yeah, Trevor Wallace video. Although Trevor Wallace is awesome, so that video is hilarious.
I actually really enjoyed that.
It's hilarious. So
I was about to say you're riding the wave.
I like that.
I was about to say you're riding the wave, and then forgetting that
That's
White Claw
amazing.
has a wave
That's
on
a
the front of
that's
it.
a
I'm
great
like, God
pun.
damn it.
Well done.
Yeah, but I wasn't doing it on
Unintentional.
purpose,
Okay,
and
well.
now I'm like, no, I'm taking it back. I'm not doing it. I don't want to have unintentional memes out
fair
there.
enough. So yeah, that's the White Claw story. It's been kind of weird, but it's cool, and I just like drinking it. I think it's very refreshing, and like it keeps you level.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the vegan for loco, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vegan for look.
It's great.
Yeah.
So that's the White Claw story.
I brought it to a party last night. Set off the party.
Yeah?
It was just me and my friends who like all have kids and animals now, like hanging out. And I'm like, well, I should probably stop getting drunk off this 6-pack of White Claw.
Any party can be a White Claw party.
White Claw Summer 2K19.
There you
go. We're at about a while, and I want to be respectful of your time because you have to start playing. They're going to start playing music soon, and
Yes,
you
they
guys
are.
have to play a show. And
Yes.
If you have anything else you want to say, do you want to say anything to the hundreds of people that listen to this podcast over the course of time?
Sure.
Over the tens of people that will hear this.
Tens of people. The peasants that will listen.
You are my peasants, though.
Yes. You are our emo social club. Pride and Disaster comes out September 13th. Please listen and stream Under the Moment. It is available now worldwide. Pre-order the record at merchnow.com. And come see us on tour either right now. I don't know if this will come out in time for the tour. Will probably be over by the time this comes out. But
it might come out in 2 days.
Okay, well, in 2 days. And come see us on tour with Like Pacific and Home Safe. And then please come see us on tour in September and October with Don Broco, Trash Boat, and Selfish Things.
Yeah. And they can find you on the internet at
I am Jake's on a Plane and the real Jake's on a Plane on Instagram.
Yeah.
Have a lovely day.
Yeah. Well, Jake, I appreciate you being on.
I appreciate you, Brian.
This is awesome. I'm really glad we
You're
finally
very
got to do
handsome.
this. Well, I'm not as handsome as you.
Oh, stop.
There are other people in the room now. We should probably
This is awkward.
probably not do this in front of
Hey,
people.
Brian, you're welcome for being on your podcast, bro. Thanks for the invite.
Listen, you just got here.
I don't want to do it anyway, bro.
Stay tuned for the next episode where we just do the same thing with Zach instead.
No, I'm over it. It's over now.
Well,
I gotta go.
Oh, I've
I'm
offended.
busy. I have things to do.
I've offended.
People to see.
You have many
One-
leather-bound books.
Many leather-bound books that smell of rich mahogany. A whole wheel of cheese to eat.
I'm not even mad. I'm just impressed.
All right, that's enough.
Thanks for listening again from all of us here at the Emo Social Club podcast. I'm Brian, and goodbye. Quick outro.
You fucking